See if you can catch yourself complaining in either speech or thought about a situation you find yourself in, what other people do or say, your surroundings, your life situation, even the weather. To complain is always non-acceptance of what is. It invariably carries an unconscious negative charge. When you complain, you make yourself a victim. Leave the situation or accept it. All else is madness. Stress is caused by being here but wanting to be there. When you look upon another human being and feel great love toward them, or when you contemplate beauty in nature and something within you responds deeply to it, close your eyes for a moment and feel the essence of that love or that beauty within you, inseparable from who you are, your true nature. The outer form is a temporary reflection of what you are within, in your essence. That is why love and beauty can never leave you, although all outer forms will. The moment you become aware of the ego in you, it is strictly speaking no longer the ego, but just an old, conditioned mind pattern. Ego implies unawareness. Awareness and ego cannot coexist. The primary cause of unhappiness is never the situation but your thoughts about it. All negativity is caused by an accumulation of psychological time and denial of the present. Unease, anxiety, tension, stress, worry, all forms of fear, are caused by too much future and not enough presence. Guilt, regret, resentment, grievances, sadness, bitterness, and all forms of non-forgiveness are caused by too much past and not enough presence.
Don't forget to subscribe. Afterwards, the wisest and most spiritual books from the greatest authors await you every day. And now buckle up, sit back and we'll begin.
When you become comfortable with uncertainty, infinite possibilities open up in your life. Observe your thoughts, don't believe them. When you complain, you make yourself a victim. Leave the situation, change the situation or accept it, all else is madness. No matter how long your journey appears to be, there is never more than this, one step, one breath, one moment. Now, you are not separate from the whole. You are one with the sun, the earth, the air. You don't have a life, you are life. Get the inside right, and the outside will take care of itself. When you live in complete acceptance of what is, that is the end of all drama in your life. Stop looking outside for scraps of pleasure or fulfillment, for validation, security, or love. You have a treasure within that is infinitely greater than anything the world can offer. The most common ego identifications have to do with possessions, the work you do, social status and recognition, knowledge and education, physical appearance, special abilities, relationships, person and family history, belief systems, and often nationalistic, racial, religious, and other collective identifications. None of these is you. Worry means the mind is controlling you. Worry is always pointless. A solution never comes out of worry. The mind is essentially a survival machine. Attack and defense against other minds, gathering, storing, and analyzing information. This is what it is good at. But it is not at all creative. All true artists, whether they know it or not, create from a place of no mind, from inner stillness. Sometimes surrender means giving up trying to understand and becoming comfortable with not knowing. Guilt, regret, resentment, sadness and all forms of non-forgiveness are caused by too much past and not enough presence. You can only lose something that you have, but you cannot lose something that you are. Rather than being your thoughts and emotions, be the awareness behind them. Non-resistance, non-judgment, and non-attachment are the three aspects of true freedom and enlightened living. Whatever the present moment contains, accept it as if you had chosen it. Most humans are never fully present in the now, because unconsciously they believe that the next moment must be more important than this one. But then you miss your whole life, which is never not now. In today's rush we all think too much, seek too much, want too much and forget about the joy of just being. Important thing to realize is the world is not here to make me happy. When you don't demand that the situation, or place, or person should make you happy, then actually the situation, place, or person is quite satisfying. Always say yes to the present moment. What could be more futile, more insane, than to create inner resistance to what already is? What could be more insane than to oppose life itself, which is now and always now? Surrender to what is. Say yes to life, and see how life suddenly starts working for you rather than against you. The secret of awakening is to unconditionally accept this moment as it is. Acceptance means, for now, this is what this situation, this moment, requires me to do, and so I do it willingly. A true spiritual teacher does not have anything to teach in the conventional sense of the word, does not have anything to give or add to you, such as new information, beliefs, or rules of conduct. The only function of such a teacher is to help you remove that which separates you from the truth of who you already are and what you already know in the depth of your being. The power is in you. The answer is in you. And you are the answer to all your searches. You are the goal. You are the answer. It's never outside. Remember that your perception of the world is a reflection of your state of consciousness. You are not separate from it, and there is no objective world out there. Every moment, your consciousness creates the world that you inhabit. The most decisive event in your life is when you discover you are not your thoughts or emotions. Instead, you can be present as the awareness behind the thoughts and emotions. True freedom and the end of suffering is living in such a way as if you had completely chosen whatever you feel or experience at this moment. This inner alignment with now is the end of suffering. Is suffering really necessary? Yes and no. If you had not suffered as you have, there would be no depth to you as a human being, no humility, no compassion. You would not be reading this now. Suffering cracks open the shell of ego, and then comes a point when it has served its purpose. Suffering is necessary until you realize it is unnecessary. The power for creating a better future is contained in the present moment. You create a good future by creating a good present. If uncertainty is unacceptable to you, it turns into fear. If it is perfectly acceptable, it turns into increased aliveness, alertness, and creativity. Complaining is one of the ego's favorite strategies for strengthening itself. Nothing that is of real value can be lost, only the false dissolves. Instead of asking, "What do I want from life?" a more powerful question is, "What does life want from me?" Anything that you resent and strongly react to in another is also in you. When you are in the present moment, you break the continuity of your story, of past and future. Then true intelligence arises, and also love. When you want to arrive at your goal more than you want to be doing what you are doing, you become stressed. The word enlightenment conjures up the idea of some superhuman accomplishment, and the ego likes to keep it that way, but it is simply your natural state of felt oneness with being. Every addiction arises from an unconscious refusal to face and move through your own pain. Every addiction starts with pain and ends with pain. Whatever the substance you are addicted to, alcohol, food, legal or illegal drugs, or a person, you are using something or somebody to cover up your pain. The present moment holds the key to liberation, but you cannot find the present moment as long as you are your mind. Wisdom comes with the ability to be still. Just look and listen. No more is needed. Don't look for any other state than the one you are in now, otherwise, you will set up inner conflict and unconscious resistance. Forgive yourself for not being at peace. The moment you completely accept your non-peace becomes transmuted into peace. Anything you accept fully will get you there, will take you into peace. This is the miracle of surrender. If her past were your past, her pain your pain, her level of consciousness your level of consciousness, you would think and act exactly as she does. With this realization comes forgiveness, compassion and peace. Much suffering, much unhappiness arises when you take each thought that comes into your head for the truth. If you don't have a good relationship with the now, you don't have a good relationship with life. Surrender is the simple but profound wisdom of yielding to rather than opposing the flow of life. Don't judge or analyze what you observe. Watch the thought, feel the emotion, observe the reaction. Don't make a personal problem out of them. You will then feel something more powerful than any of those things that you observe, the still, observing presence itself behind the content of your mind, the silent watcher. To stay present in everyday life, it helps to be deeply rooted within yourself, otherwise, the mind, which has incredible momentum, will drag you along like a wild river. As far as inner transformation is concerned, there is nothing you can do about it. You cannot transform yourself, and you certainly cannot transform your partner or anybody else. All you can do is create a space for transformation to happen, for grace and love to enter. How wonderful to go beyond wanting and fearing in your relationships. Love does not want or fear anything. Prejudice of any kind implies that you are identified with the thinking mind. It means you don't see the other human being anymore, but only your own concept of that human being. To reduce the aliveness of another human being to a concept is already a form of violence. Suffering begins when you mentally label a situation as bad. That causes an emotional contraction. When you let it be, without naming it, enormous power is available to you. The contraction cuts you off from that power, the power of life itself. If peace is really what you want, then you will choose peace. If peace mattered to you more than anything else, and if you truly knew yourself to be spirit rather than a little me, you would remain non-reactive and absolutely alert when confronted with challenging people or situations. You would immediately accept the situation and thus become one with it rather than separate yourself from it. People tend to dwell more on negative things than on good things. So the mind then becomes obsessed with negative things, with judgments, guilt and anxiety produced by thoughts about the future and so on. Forgiveness of the present is even more important than forgiveness of the past. If you forgive every moment, allow it to be as it is, then there will be no accumulation of resentment that needs to be forgiven at some later time. Your unhappiness ultimately arises not from the circumstances of your life but from the conditioning of your mind. The quicker you are in attaching verbal or mental labels to things, people, or situations, the more shallow and lifeless your reality becomes, and the more deadened you become to reality. People look to time in expectation that it will eventually make them happy, but you cannot find true happiness by looking toward the future. Sometimes letting things go is an act of far greater power than defending or hanging on. When you accept what is, you are grateful for whatever situation arises. The recognition of the false is already the arising of the real. To be identified with your mind is to be trapped in time, the compulsion to live almost exclusively through memory and anticipation. This creates an endless preoccupation with past and future and an unwillingness to honor and acknowledge the present moment and allow it to be. The compulsion arises because the past gives you an identity and the future holds the promise of salvation, of fulfillment in whatever form. Both are illusions. The significance is hiding in the insignificant. Appreciate everything. To meet everything and everyone through stillness instead of mental noise is the greatest gift you can offer the universe. The intensity of the pain depends on the degree of resistance to the present moment. Every complaint is a little story the mind makes up that you completely believe in. Life isn't as serious as the mind makes it out to be. Once you have identified with some form of negativity, you do not want to let it go, and on a deeply unconscious level, you do not want positive change. It would threaten your identity as a depressed, angry or hard-done-by person. You will then ignore, deny or sabotage the positive in your life. This is a common phenomenon. It is also insane. Welcome to the present moment. Here, now, the only moment there ever is. You are not in the universe, you are the universe. Those who have not found their true wealth, which is the radiant joy of being and the deep, unshakable peace that comes with it, are beggars, even if they have great material wealth. They are looking outside for scraps of pleasure or fulfillment, for validation, security, or love, while they have a treasure within that not only includes all those things but is infinitely greater than anything the world can offer. Awareness is the greatest agent for change. There is nothing that strengthens the ego more than being right. There is nothing that strengthens the ego more than being right. Being right is identification with a mental position, a perspective, an opinion, a judgment, a story. For you to be right, of course, you need someone else to be wrong, as so the ego loves to make wrong in order to be right. You can't wait for the end of your problems for you to be present. It has to be done wherever you are, which is now. I am not my thoughts, emotions, sense perceptions, and experiences. I am not the content of my life. I am life. I am the space in which all things happen. I am consciousness. I am the now. I am. Gratefulness for what is there is one of the most powerful tools for creating what is not yet there. What does gratefulness mean? It means you appreciate what is. You value, you give attention to, you honor whatever is here at this moment. You can be very much aware that when you are stressed, it always is a sign you have lost the present moment. So, you can choose to re-enter the present moment. Suffering cracks open the shell of ego, and then comes a point when it has served its purpose. Suffering is necessary until you realize it is unnecessary. Be the silent watcher of your thoughts and behavior. You are beneath the thinker. You are the stillness beneath the mental noise. You are the love and joy beneath the pain. If the structures of the human mind remain unchanged, we will always end up recreating the same world, the same evils, the same dysfunction. Whenever you step out of the noise of thinking, that is meditation, and a different state of consciousness arises. The mind, conditioned as it is by the past, always seeks to recreate what it knows and is familiar with. Even if it is painful, at least it is familiar. The mind always adheres to the known. The unknown is dangerous because it has no control over it. That's why the mind dislikes and ignores the present moment. You are the universe expressing itself as a human for a little while. Living up to an image that you have of yourself or that other people have of you is inauthentic living. Fulfill me, make me happy, make me feel safe, tell me who I am. The world cannot give you those things, and when you no longer have such expectations, all self-created suffering comes to an end. Compassion is the awareness of a deep bond between yourself and all creatures. Do not pollute your beautiful, radiant being nor the earth with negativity. Do not give unhappiness in any form whatsoever a dwelling place inside you. Facing facts is always empowering. The mental suffering you create is always some form of non-acceptance, some form of unconscious resistance to what is. On the level of thought, the resistance is some form of judgment. The intensity of the suffering depends on the degree of resistance to the present moment. The primary cause of unhappiness is never the situation but thought about it. Be aware of the thoughts you are thinking. Separate them from the situation, which is always neutral. It is as it is. Be at least as interested in what goes on inside you as what happens outside. If you get the inside right, the outside will fall into place. Always work with the present moment, not against it. Make it your friend and ally, not your enemy. This will miraculously transform your whole life. What will be left of all the fearing and wanting associated with your problematic life situation that every day takes up most of your attention? A dash, 1 or 2 inches long, between the date of birth and date of death on your gravestone. Not until you surrender does the spiritual dimension become a living reality in your life. When you do, the energy you emanate and that then runs your life is of a much higher vibrational frequency than the mind energy that still runs the world. Be aware that what you think, to a large extent, creates the emotions that you feel. See the link between your thinking and your emotions. Rather than being your thoughts and emotions, be the awareness behind them. Eckhart Tolle.
And that's not all. Our experts and regular viewers respond to all comments. Also check if you forgot to subscribe and set your bell to receive notifications about new audiobooks and other useful self-development materials that we release regularly. Join in the discussions, don't forget to give likes and, if possible and inspired, support the development of the channel financially. All useful links will be in the description and the first attached comment. Goodness, love and wisdom to all. And now move on to watch the next part of the video at the links below, or choose something from the playlists of the channel and those you see on the screen.